comfortable here. Make sure I'm in frame. I think that looks good. This is a new audio setup. So I hope that it's coming through loud and clear, hopefully not distorted. And I'll wait till people actually start joining before I proceed. So, if anyone wants to look back on this at some point, I'm hoping that maybe this could be a regular thing. Who knows? Maybe it'll be shit. Maybe nobody likes it. That is entirely possible as well. Like all my ideas, they're half-baked. Also, so I'm not talking with a dry throat tonight. Hey, Poppy, I am glad you're here. Welcome. You're the first viewer. Very excited to have you. This is, in fact, a special stream. Very special. How is playback and all that? We good? Lagging or anything? It looked like I got some lag on my monitor there, but whatever. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm getting my audio dialed in. You're going to be my guinea pig since you're the only one here right now. How is it? Is it loud and clear? I'm watching. Okay, cool. If you need to adjust anything, I'll show you a photo of the setup. I'm waiting for more people to get here because I want to tell this story, but I literally set this up like 4 hours ago. I was just going to stream a video game, but I was like, man, it's like I'm just streaming the same shit. You know, it's kind of dull. But I thought, let's do something different. So tonight's a very special treat. I'm not going to say what it is just yet, but I'm excited. So I hope you stick around for a bit. So, are you still hungover from Judas Priest? Let me reload my browser. I think it's delayed by like several seconds. It's kind of hard to see from here. I think I should have enlarged it. Yeah, I show you still being connected. I'm wondering if I'm getting some. I think I need to hook this thing up to an Ethernet connection. Okay. I think we're good. It's just really delayed on my end. Hold on, let me refresh this. All right. Hey, Let Me Ask. Hey, Kaiju. It's good to see you. So, I can go ahead and get started. I was going to do the usual video game stream tonight, but I thought, you know what, that's kind of dull. You know, I want to do something different. I literally, this whole set, this thing, which I'm quite proud of, I got lighting set up and everything, I put together in an hour. This was entirely spontaneous, so I just like, hey, this will be fun. So, what are we doing tonight, you ask? Tonight, I am going to be reading a book to all of you. It's a good one called Stardom For Dumbshits. It was written by a band I enjoy very much known as the Phantom Surfers. I'll try to respond to your chat when I can tonight, but these are reading glasses and I can't see the screen, so I thought maybe I'd be able to read the TV while I did this. I cannot. So I'll take occasional breaks to respond to the chat. Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing tonight. And hello, Electro Timmy. For a little bit of extra interaction, you all are going to be choosing which bookmark we use for tonight. So I will do the best to tally the votes. Tell everyone in Discord to get in here if they're thinking it's just another video game. So yeah, I will go ahead and get the bookmarks. Here we are. So our first bookmark is, ready for it? I'm waiting for it to show up on the screen, so I need to know how it looks. There we go. Black and white kitty. And it has cat facts. Cat's nose print, the pattern of ridges on its nose is unique, like a human's fingerprints. Okay, so we got that one. Next up, we have this cute little torty-looking kitty. Adult cats meow mostly to communicate with humans. They rarely meow at each other. And now I'm biased on this, okay? This is a Siamese. I love Siamese cats. When I was a kid, my best friend was a Siamese cat. The Japanese use many cat idioms, such as describing a small place as the size of a cat's forehead. That is a good system of measurement. I think we should adopt it. And then this one, I don't know how to describe this, but it's beautiful. It's kind of like a tiger stripe. Cats were first domesticated about 12,000 years ago in the Near East. Ah, these little naked guys. In Italy, a cat sneeze is a sign of good luck. It can also mean that rain is coming. Get some cat sneezes up here. Ah, I got another one. The ballot has been rigged. Fake news. Fake news. Oh, there's two of them here. Both parties are in on it. All right. So, I'm just putting those aside. I won't even spoil what those were. So what do we want, everyone? What is going to be our bookmark for a delightful journey into the realm of reading tonight? I know you'll pick the right one. We got the Sphinx, the hairless cat. Oh, two for that, huh? Siamese or Sphinx? Sphinx is pulling ahead. Timmy, you gonna break? I suppose if we get more votes, but yeah, I think it's gonna be Sphinx. Well, I guess the people have spoken. It's the Sphinx. Congratulations, Sphinx Kitty. I might find a way to send some of these out to you guys. I've got a stack of them. They were given to me by a friend who's a librarian. I can't say no to cat stuff. All right, so we got our bookmark. Again, this is Stardom For Dumbshits. When I bought this book, it was like $12. I heard about it on a podcast that I listened to years ago, which actually greatly influenced my musical tastes. But this is one of those bands I discovered through the podcast. And this book is extremely funny. And I was actually going to gift a copy to some of my friends. And I went to order. It was like $12, whatever. This little book is going for like $60 now. And I'm like, I love them, but I'm not spending that on this thing. So they can buy one themselves. Okay, I'm going to figure out how to be a rock star, and tonight I'm sharing that information with all of you as well. So without further ado, I'm going to take a sip of my water. Yes, I almost forgot to mention. I saw it in the chat. Yes, this week's album is the new Exhumed, To the Dead. Those of you who have not listened to it, shame on you. Continue. A how-to guide for those who want to succeed in the boring, low-paying world of rock. As easy as 1, 2, 3. And I'll also hold it up for the illustrations and try to show you guys that. How you can turn your rock and roll dreams into a nightmare of delusional ego gratification. Why should you become a rock star? How would you like to make lots and lots and lots, and by lots, we mean simply oodles and oodles, of money, bushel baskets full, overflowing wheelbarrows. Sound good? Great. All you have to do is become a doctor or a lawyer. What if you want to have a bevy of beauteous broads or boys or both? Throwing themselves at you. Easily done. Just make a lot of money and pin $50 bills to your pants. But what about if your goal is to become famous? As it turns out, the path to fame is wide open. All you need to do is shoot the president. Preferably the United States. Now, I would like that last line stricken from the record. I am not advocating that on Twitch channel. I'm merely reading from the book in the middle there. So any trigger-happy moderators, please. This is not intended as a threat against the United States president or any entities. With that, note that you don't even have to redacted should you happen to be a vegetarian or have some other ethical qualms about doing so. Okay, but what about if you want to make a lot of money, be irresistible to men and women, and be famous? Then, of course, your action is clear. Become a doctor or lawyer, pin $50 bills to your pants, and shoot the president. But what about expressing myself? Sharing my creative gifts with the world, even? You might well ask, Well, you can ceaselessly strive to master the artistic discipline of your inclination, dedicating your life to a dignified pursuit of beauty, excellence, and truth. But that certainly doesn't sound like any fun. How about reaching out for the brass ring of rock stardom? Okay, then, it's settled. Fortunately for you, all you need to know is contained in this fabulous tome. Consider it your yellow brick roadmap. Other people have become rock stars. This is an indisputable fact. So why not you? Note, bear in mind that 5 out of 6 scientists surveyed estimated that there is a 22% chance that the Earth will be destroyed by an asteroid in the next 30,000 years. Coincidentally, this is also exactly how long it will take to recoup expenses on your first major label release. But do you really have what it takes? You may be wondering, especially after reading the title of the chapter, whether you really have what it takes to embark upon a long journey toward that emerald city of rock stardom. The answer is simple. Yes. To ply most professions, whether doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, or rocket scientist, one must first undergo a rather Darwinian process of training. Even if devoid of any semblance of intelligence, intestinal fortitude, and a tenacious ability to keep one's nose glued to the grindstone is necessary just to slog through the long and tedious education required to practice one of these métiers. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. I think Dissector could probably do that. Métier. Fortunately for you, there is no such hindrances to entering the field of popular music. I can't read the chat, but I hope you're enjoying it, if you're all still there. In the bricklayer's profession, it is fairly clear to anyone with a sense of proportion if the mason has done a good job. The bricks are straight and plumb or not. It takes years to develop the eyes and hands to properly execute even a simple wall. And the successful mason must learn how to run a proper business in addition to the actual buttering of a stone. To succeed as a rock star, however, you need only the ability to appeal to the lowest common denominator, and of course, we're all present here tonight, and a great deal of luck. I will take a break for just a moment to sip my water and see if I can read the chat there. I can't really read that, but I hope you're enjoying it. I need a better way to view the chat. This is not working very well. Okay, I'm leaning forward there. Oh, it says I'm frozen. Am I still frozen? Can you guys see me? Stream doesn't look bad on my end. It's this damn Wi-Fi. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that you're enjoying that. Okay. Okay, cool. Let's continue. Where did I leave off? Lowest common denominator. Okay. It is an established truism in business that access and application of technology lowers the barrier to entry of any particular field. Witness the proliferation of graphic artists. In days of yore, this field demanded an apprenticeship prior to hanging out a shingle and plying the craft. Now any Tom, Dick, or Harriet with $500 desktop can peddle their services. This has not only elevated the wages of the untalented and lowered the value of the qualified tradesfolk, but made it more difficult for competent and incompetent alike to find employment as a semblance of professional standards have been tossed out like yesterday's news. Rock has also come a long way from its primitive beginnings. Yes, it's better now than it's ever been. Outdated notions such as entertainment and pleasure have given way to the freewheeling, anything-goes atmosphere that makes it all the easier to express yourself creatively. There are no hindrances to keep provincials, as yourself, from pursuing dreams of rock and roll greatness. For a bag full of clams, you and some neighborhood bone grubbers can buy serviceable instruments, make your caddywalling monkey shines available to the public, and while away the years of your lives trying to strike gold in the salt mines of rock. Consequently, the entire music industry is chock-a-block full of those who dream of rock glory as well as those whose dreams have been crushed by the jackboot of level 2. And that has a trademark, by the way. About which, more on. When the lack of a break breaks them, the latter get jobs at music stores, nightclubs, the lower levels of entertainment corporations, etc. They believe this will allow them to keep their finger in the pie, therefore eschewing the more honorable careers such as carnival barkers, spiritualists, pickpockets, and, of course, senators. You'll encounter many of these rock and roll demi-casualties, likely reminding you of less dignified versions of the slobbering, inarticulate, raw, entrail-munching, living dead in a typical modern zombie film. And, as with most characters in said typical film, it's just a matter of time until you join the ghastly ranks of those creatures you once found so sickening. So let's get started. And, of course, there is a tiny mirror built into the book here so you can see what y'all look like. How's chat? How are we doing, huh? You guys aren't talking very much. I don't know if that's good or bad. Good. I'm glad. We got a pyramid here, 3, 2, 1, and a very large toad. How did I get to be the biggest frog in this pond? By heeding well the 3 levels theory. That's how. The 3 levels, also trademarked. Question: why did the chicken cross the road? The answer: better to risk getting run over than to spend another second in the tour van. Even if you have not spent any time touring with a rock band, the above sentiment should resonate with any reader of this fine work. Long childhood vacations in the family car and crowded airline flights with indifferent service also leave one yearning to be free of the confines of the vessel. Yet, if one is not careful, years of Sisyphean roaming can await even the most talented of entertainers. The 3 levels, trademark, theory of rock is a cornerstone to understanding what it takes to be a successful rock star. If you fail to grasp this fundamental concept, don't bother to complete reading this tome. Instead, look to a more prestigious career: undertaker, mob hitman, author of how-to books, etc. However, if you successfully apply the following principle to your own rock dreams, you may save yourself years of heartache and misery. As this paradigm unfolds on the following pages, keep in mind the following maxim. If you cannot jump directly to level 3 from level 1, stay at level 1. Of course, we're all following along here, and we all understand what level 1 is. Of course, those of you who have been here from the beginning, we all know. Level 1. Level 1 is the largest and most varied of the 3 levels. At the very entry point are the countless garage bands of the world. No matter the age of the members, the garage bands form the bulk of level 1. Many denizens of this level are in their first band. These kids may be experiencing their first relatively unencumbered relationships outside of the nuclear family. I mean, let's face it. If the kid could get girls to talk to him, he wouldn't need a guitar. Parents are happy because they know where Junior is. As are the Moppets learn to play rudimentary semblances of tunes, they will get an offer to play at a party or the junior high double lunch period talent show. The seeds of rock stardom have been planted and soon germinate into a garden of fruitless aspirations. Soon the band will get the urge to record. At first it will just be to hear how they sound. Inevitably that sound will be, whoa, rockin'. One of the members will be the technical geek and will direct the recording process using whatever means are at hand. The result will sound to them as if Mutt Lange himself had come out of retirement to produce it. These first forays into rock will establish the interpersonal dynamics of the members for the life of the band. The guitar player will threaten to quit, the others will beg him to stay. This passive-aggressive tact will continue to be used and used until another guitarist comes along with a bigger amp. Level 1 also encompasses the hobby bands. One ambitious fellow will round up a few like-minded cronies for a weekly shivaree in someone's basement. Most of the recording will be used to provide evidence to the wife that he has not spent the last month of Thursday nights at a strip club. The wife, her mind occupied with more practical matters, will utter some words of encouragement, causing him to distribute a few copies of the current home media storage device, cassette, CDR, chip inserted directly into the brain, as I demonstrated in the documentary last week, Cyberpunk, to coworkers. These well-meaning souls will praise the recording as fun, whether or not they actually listen to it, and it will be remaindered into a shelf, or to a shelf. Several years later, it will be rediscovered and thrown out. Now, who amongst us has not? I mean, I'll be honest, I have done that. Mainly because I felt bad for the guy. And I thought it was like, I mean, yeah, give me a CD, so whatever. I wonder if it's good. I'll never find out. Anyone who gets together for the sheer joy of the music falls into level 1. Barbershop quartets, small town symphonies, local bluegrass bands, etc. By the way, I've never read this book before, so if I start laughing in the middle of this, it's genuine. The members have other means of supporting themselves and their families. Music is simply a pleasant diversion, as fishing and bocce ball is for others, from the daily crush of life. At the pinnacle of level 1, trademark, are the oxymoronic professional hobby bands who manage to eat their cake and keep it too. Each member builds a life for him or herself completely independent of the band through career choices, or though career choices may be made to accommodate the desire to play music. These folks may not become CEOs or even junior executives, but they manage to get by just fine. By some quirk, their band achieves some degree of success. People buy their albums, they play their places where people actually pay to see them, and they rarely have to sink any of their own money into the band's projects, much to the relief of their significant others. They may even do short tours as corporate vacation policies allow. How generous. How many people are fortunate to have a hobby that does not cost a fortune? Pity the golfer and his unending search for the newest club to lower his awful handicap, or for the angler who spends thousands for hand-built rods and reels to catch fish he will throw back. His handmade creel is merely a preposterous decoration, close cousin to the wall of redundant amplifiers and speakers beloved by level 2 bands playing to small, medium-sized clubs. Professional hobby bands are able to enjoy all the fruits of level 2 and even have some occasional tastes of level 3, with little of the mundane drudgery. Remember, if you cannot jump directly to level 3 from level 1, stay at level 1. We're reviewing the hits. And I'm going to censor this because there's a lady's posterior. But, yeah, my wife thinks I'm golfing. So does my husband. Talk about an expensive hobby. Oh, that is great. Man, just the jokes. The jokes. We're on to level 2. This cartoon is titled Back from Tour. Well, no, we didn't exactly make any money, but I got a blowjob in Cleveland. Hey, Flabbeth! You went to his show. Where is Flabbeth? Is he in here? Son of a bitch. I don't see him in the chat. You clip that. And you clip this, and you send that to him. Tell him to put away the Jägermeister for 30 seconds and get his ass in here because I'm spitting wisdom. Okay? I can elevate him to a position in Dayton, Cleveland, Columbus, all kinds of towns. There are many towns, of which I don't have to remind the rest of you that are in Ohio. If you have decided that you must simply make music your career, you will most likely end up being a level 2 schlub. This unwitting and unfortunate group of souls constitutes the vast majority of working musicians. Wedding band? Level 2. Top 40 cover band? Level 2. Touring band, either on the way up or on the way down without a hit record? The epitome of level 2. It is edifying to examine the delusions that drive those who toil in level 2. Their careers can be divided into 3 phases. Phase 1. We're going to make it. Characteristics: cockiness, unbridled optimism, and a steady diet of fairy dust washed down with unicorn milk. Phase 2. This is going to be our year. Characteristics: quiet desperation, hard work, and panther sweat. Phase 3. We should have been huge. Characteristics: anger, bitterness, blame, and quiffing the bladder, all of which are the side effects of the current medication I am taking. At which point we offer a crying towel and extend a heartfelt boo-hoo. There is no point in pondering why other bands receive the adulation and rewards that you expected would befall you. Maybe they hoard themselves. Maybe you refuse to compromise on anything to protect your artistic vision. Or maybe those who made it to level 3 were willing to be bigger assholes than you. Level 2 case study, the Ramones, or as they are popularly known, the Ram Ones. Let's take a look at the Ramones. Praised, adored, influential. All level 3 characteristics, yes? Ixnay. While it is easy to say you enjoy the Ramones now that they're all museum pieces, identifying yourself as a fan around the time their first 3 albums was an excellent way to get your nose busted by some meathead who hated punk rock shit in any and all manifestations. And where is the Ramones' influence most widely noted? In the whining noise of those bands who have achieved mass success peddling diluted blitzkrieg blah. See page 36, The Quest for Mediocrity. While some rock aspirants get misty-eyed and even a bit jealous about the Ramones' epic tours in a 9-passenger van, they doubtless would have rather flown first class, business class, or even in the cargo hold. The Ramones played over 2,000 shows in their career because they had to. Do you think the Gabba Gabba journeymen weren't thinking of day jobs by Animal Boy? I don't understand that reference, by the way. I hope someone found that funny. Marky was cranky after they quit because the other guys passed on a comparatively lucrative South American tour. I just wanted one last payday. The sonorous wail of the chronic level 2 denizen. Happy ending. Marky later played the jungle-bordering boonies of Formosa, Argentina, with some hired hands filling in for the other Ramones. He presumably figured no one would ever find out so long as he stayed away from Buenos Aires. And remember that the Ramones may be the most successful level 2 band of all time. Hey ho, don't go. If you cannot jump directly to level 3 from level 1, what did we learn? That's right, stay at level 1. Hey, the Ramones are playing at Joseph's Hofbrau. Nice. Only Argentina. Yeah. All right. I think I need another water break. How's the chat? How are we doing? How are we looking, huh? Oh, yes. Hey, Witchy. Yeah. I didn't notice you earlier. Yeah. You know, there's enough people in the chat right now to form a band. Someone would have to pick up the chimes or jug or something. That's not true, Witchy. That is not true at all. We have another humorous illustration. Ooh, that's kind of gross. There's a lady of the night. Kind of like a Beavis and Butthead, crumb kind of illustration. Level 3, the land of milk, honey, and heroin. Fame, the adulation of ignorant ninnies, and even a certain degree of wealth. It's all here. This is where everyone wants to be. Unsurprisingly, no one gets there. Simply put, level 3 consists of those entertainers whose albums sell in massive quantities, allowing them to build or hold concerts at large venues and derive earnings comparable to those of bagmen for congressional lobbyists. This income allows them to hire competent flunkies to carry out the drudgeries of the rock business, though there are some mundane tasks that must be performed personally. Being asked the same question for the millionth time by a clueless DJ, VJ, or rock scribbler who can't be bothered to do any research is a far cry, however, from loading your own cumbersome equipment into a van night after night. Among the privileges of level 3 is the indulgence with which misbehavior and even criminality is met. Witness the pop diva with her proclivity for eccentric antics, only some of them chemical-induced, who was fired from her record company for her churlish conduct. Not only did she receive an eye-popping severance package, but she was quickly snapped up by a rival record company and given an advance greater than the GNP of some of the smaller European nations. This is classic level 3. Fail upward and onward. Hoist the mainsail. Man battle stations. If you cannot jump directly to level 3 from level 1, stay at level 1. Making your band, or hell is other people. Unless you possess the gumption to be a one-man, one-woman, or that's a little dated, band, you are going to need to get together with other like-minded musicians. This will require finding suitable, especially in the temperament department, bandmates. Unless all of your friends are musicians, and if they are, you really need to broaden your circle of friends. You will most likely be pursuing the classified ads, or be placing one. It takes a keen intellect to decipher the real message, so let's take a look at some actual ads and determine what they really mean. For example, what they say in the ad. Country singer wants to start or join already established band. I have a list of songs. Phone number. What they really mean is, of course, I don't want to work hard to start my own band, and I only want to sing the songs that I like. Even though established band would indicate that the band already has a set list, these guys better learn my songs. What they say in the ad. Looking to join a band with rock influences. I'm open to lots of sounds. I'm available Monday through Friday up to 3 nights a week and every other weekend. Committed. Contact Craig. As an aside here, this is from the book. First of all, I don't trust anyone placing an ad named Craig. Okay? Craig, Greg, it's like interchangeable. You can't keep track. And if you misheard it once, you're pronouncing it for the rest of your life that way. Don't risk it. What Craig really meant to say in the ad was, I couldn't commit to marry my girlfriend when I got her pregnant and she left me. Now I only get to see my kid every other weekend. Since I can't get a date to save my life, I'll start a band and make the time pass. The first time the guitar player makes a suggestion to me, I'll accuse him of being a control freak and quit the band. Tale as old as time. What they say in the ad. Attention singer-songwriters, record producers, songwriter with current major label credits. Oh. Looking for focus artists, eyeing the next level. Band okay, not needed. How about that? What they really mean is I am not making any money off my one album credit, and I have to do something. I want good songs to steal for my own gain. I'll sign you to an onerous personal services contract, but you'll never see any money. If I were really talented, I would not need to place a classified ad. I would have acts seeking me out. Boy, am I a loser. By the way, that last line wasn't actually in the book. What they say in the ad. Seeking female musicians. ABC Production seeks female guitarist. Bassist and drummer to back singer on rock video, possibly, or live TV appearances. 24-hour studio starts immediately. Deferred payment. Because of course it is. What they really mean. I mean, I don't even think I need to read this next one, but I will. I am really desperate to get laid. I'll read the passage now. I kind of repeated that joke. And I'm working hard on this female singer. I have already spent a ton of dough on this chick, and I haven't even gotten to second base. If I can impress her with my production of this video, maybe I'll get lucky. If not, you can bet that I'll start hitting on you, the viewer. Heck, I'll produce your video too. By the way, in the unlikely event that any money is realized as a byproduct of this scheme, it will be spent on baubles for the singer, so don't expect anything. What they say in the ad. Guitarist, former frontman of longtime local faves, the Stubbed Toe Motherfuckers. I'm sold by the title. Seeks guitar for new act. Deal tour in place. Thunders, Ramones, pro gear, pro attitude. What they really mean. My last act was classic level 2. I finally realized that the guys of the band were really holding me back and I fired them all. Now that's courage. I really think my new ideas are fresh, and this could be huge. I have a verbal deal with a fan of my last act to press 545s, and a grueling tour of awful clubs that pay poorly is being set up by an aspiring booking agent. I am going to claw my way back to level 2 if it's the last thing I do. It's time for a water break, I think. Throat's getting a little dry. How is the chat? Ugh, I don't ever want to be that. I didn't read all the chat, so I apologize if there's a lot of stuff that I'm missing, but it looks entertaining. I need to fix this. I need to figure out a better way. Maybe set up a table here with like an iPad like, other streamers do. But is Flabbeth here? God, fucking wake him up. Timmy, you're over in the Corn Town area. Go get him. Call him. Here's the same time zone. What they say in the ad. Wanted theatrical shock jock psychos in search of heavy-hitting monster machine for mayhem and perversity. Or are you scared? What they really mean. I'm still living with my parents. Help. Alternatives to forming a band. I think this is going to be some nonsense. If geographical distribution or personality defects make it impossible for you to find flunkies to join in your gleesome musical endeavors, you can always become your own backing band by recording on a multi-track machine, preferably in your own home where no one but your family will have to endure the birth pains of your master works. In this case, your band will be unable to play live shows and the world will be that much better off. Another option is become a DJ. Once the exclusive domain of innovative and highly skilled scratchers and cutters, anyone with a milk crate full of vinyl and a CD burner can now lay claim to the title of turntablist. And that is turntablist of them to say. I'm sorry, I don't know if that was in bad taste or not, but it was set up. Come on. This book's already trashy as it is. What's one more? Oh, my hand's starting to cramp holding it like this. Maybe I gotta adjust my posture. Witchy, you read books. Give me some tips. How do I avoid this? Cramping. That actually kind of hurts. I'm going to get carpal tunnel reading to you people. It's not fair. Here, let me adjust the mic. I think I need to adjust my leg here, but I'm afraid I'm going to kick my stand. It's very cramped. This camera is like right in my face. I had to get it perfect. The herds of purported DJs roaming the landscape may make it difficult. I'm still wearing a sandal. Why am I doing that? So let's get rid of those. I can be barefoot. I'm in my own home. That fell. Okay. The herds of purported DJs roaming the landscape may make it difficult to secure a coveted slot at a bar or nightclub, but there are plenty of restaurateurs just waiting to be convinced that mind-numbingly monotonous music played at conversation precluding volume is just what the patrons want. In fact, sales of certain items such as takeout orders have been known to double at establishments that have allowed DJs to ply their trade. But why restrict yourself to restaurants? Laundromats, hardware stores, and libraries are all potentially in need of a good dose of your mad skills. An additional benefit of being a DJ is that you will have the right to bitch about the profusion of DJs to anyone who will listen. Be advised that the only people who will care enough to listen are other DJs. The Institution of Leadership. And what an illustration. I hope that shows up. I got to confirm. That's a little blurry, but you get the idea. Now that you've assembled your band of merry melon heads, it's essential that you establish yourself as their leader. They exist solely to help bring your artistic vision to fruition. Think of them as gardeners that you don't have to pay. Remember, as the lucky purchaser of this book, and that is true, this thing ain't cheap anymore, you're the one with the know-how to get to the top. If your band underlings are psychically scarred from having received inefficient love from their parents, You'll probably find that they acquiesce to your benevolent dictatorship with little more than a few token peeps of discontent. Should they prove, well, that's a $5 word for you, recalcitrant dissector. That sounds like something that would be in your toolbox. Recalcitrant. That's our word for the evening, everyone. Write that down. Pretend to have a change of heart and state the band will be run in a purely democratic fashion. Since most people find it satisfying to bitch about someone else's performance than actually undertake, I'm looking at you, Internet, anything themselves, you'll find it easy enough to situate yourself as the de facto leader by simply making each decision as it presents itself without bothering to consult your weak-willed comrades. If your bandmates dare register any complaints against your autocratic approach, you can probably intimidate them into silence by throwing a fit in which you complain about having to do all the work yourself. Even though most of this work will be towards the ends desired by no one else, such as booking the band to play your cousin's wedding for free, making intricate speed freak doodles for the cover of the band's CDR. I mean, that's the best part of a CDR. Really. I mean, those of you who have not burned a CD, put 12 songs on a CD. Do it, you Gen Zers. And then take it out and scribble that S symbol, like an eyeball, like a pizza slice. You know, pretend you're a dingy kid in a dirty floor of a room in Seattle in the 90s. You can do that without a CDR. I mean, if you live in Seattle, there's probably parts of people are still doing that. I digress. And getting your girlfriend to make some promo photos in which you're featured more prominently than the other nudnicks. Nudnicks? Boy, they're just throwing them at us tonight. A lengthy resume of your efforts on the band's behalf should weary your rebellious troops back into submission. Of course, among your responsibilities will be the band's finances. In order to maintain your credibility as leader, it is crucial that you do not contribute to the ward incidental expenses, such as the rent for a practice space, website hosting, gasoline, and etc. Since you're already contributing to the creativity, you should collect sufficient funds from your creative inferiors to cover for such mundane expenses. I mean, what is food? Now that you've got one hand firmly on the tiller and the other in the till, it's time to get creative. But first, tear out this page, as these sacred principles of management are for your eyes only, and everyone else who happens to be watching. Now skip ahead to choosing your band's music and image. The next chapter is solely for the benefit of uppity bandmates who are able to read. Refer to them as it is necessary. The institution of followership. The most important factor in achieving success in the rock world is blind obedience to the owner of this book. Note that. The owner of this book is putting more effort into making you all rich and famous than you'll ever know. So shut up and do as you're told. Really. Look, it says that. That's a binding contract. No one here is a lawyer either. I think, anyway. Anyone here a lawyer? Look at the chat. Who's a lawyer? Yeah. Yeah. Where is Cryptor's Creek? Excellent question. I want to get these back on. Should get some water real quick, too. How y'all enjoying the book? I hope good so far. I mean, I'm enjoying it. And I get to read it to you, because I would have been doing this by myself anyway. Actually, I wouldn't. Part of my problem is I don't read enough. I read tons of like articles and essays, but I don't read books anymore much. I think a lot of adults don't. Choosing your band's music and image. Here's a few examples on the page. Personally, I think lady hair curler rock is something I haven't seen. At least not. I'm sure a Riot Girl act may have done that. Does anyone know? Someone go to the Riot Girl wiki and look up this information for me, please. Keyword hair curlers. Most people agree that a band's musical style and image, or lack thereof, should be an uncontrived expression of the band members' personalities and collective life experiences. This is pure fudge. It doesn't matter in the least what your kind of music you choose. As a rock careerist, you will learn to adjust the percussive bed of industrian demands. I butchered industry. Which are dictated by the unverified suppositions. Jesus, I'm fumbling. Highly paid professional guessers as to what Joe and Jane Public can be convinced that they want. Furthermore, once you're signed to the musical tentacle of an entertainment conglomerate, you'll find that the actual music you make pales in significance to the efforts of your corporate family's marketing department. It is their efforts that will determine how you are perceived. How did Moses convince his followers that the insect shit that they were forced to eat in the concourse of their desert peregrinations was manna from heaven? The same way that he got them out of the boondocks in the first place. Dude, it'll be so cool hanging in the wasteland like Road Warrior and shit. Marketing! Similarly, a band that plays thoroughly unremarkable music when accessorized with facial hair and outfitted in tutus and Che Guevara shirts can be presented as standard bearers of an entirely new genre of edgy, political, and pansexual rock. That's my favorite genre. The importance of edginess, by the way, cannot be stressed enough. The perception of edginess is crucial in making a significant portion of the public feel that you are theirs. Every sheep wants to believe that it is special, even if by virtue of belonging to a special herd. And your marketing department will work with you to make the best possible use of the cult of pseudo-individuality. Actually, you'll be working for the marketing department, but don't let that bother you. Of course, you won't have the expertise of a marketing department to guide you at this pre-recording deal stage of your career. You'll have to rely on your street savvy to carve out a niche for your band. Look around and you'll find that most of the other level 1 bands are imitating level 3 bands that are popular at the moment. Well, they wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't a good idea, would they? Perhaps such a thinking sounds like a recipe for mediocrity. It is, of course. And mediocrity is exactly where you need to start. And then, this is good. A little cartoon, like an 18th century thing here. Or, I'm sorry, 19th century illustration, early 1900s. Dude, our band needs to be fucking punk, and we really fucking punk band. Shove women downstairs. Again, I did not write this book. I've never read it before. You can email the Phantom Surfers about it. They'll probably think it's funny. The Quest for Mediocrity. Are you a genius? Well, are you? Really and truly? If so, at the time of your death, you will likely be, in decreasing order of certainty, forgotten or never recognized in the first place. Heartbroken, poor, alcoholic, drug addicted, and homeless. If, on the other hand, you strive for easily digestible mediocrity, with just a hint of style pinched from someone else's unheralded innovation, you will have a shot at becoming as grand a rock star as ever there was. And, as a rock star, you will be able to pass yourself off as a genius to enough sycophants and dupes to soothe any discontent to which your ever-growing ego might fall prey. The choice, as renowned ecclesiastic Reverend Ike pointed out, is yours. You can have your pie in the sky, or you can have it now, with ice cream on top. That is so true. Embrace mediocrity. Learn to enjoy it. Learn to think it. And before you know, you will be mediocre. Watching a lot of TV will help you. It's a proven fact that rock stars view, on average, far more television than any other working stiff has the opportunity to watch. Unless the stiff works at a certain television-related fields, the lucky dog. And if you wanted to be a working stiff, you wouldn't have used your girlfriend or boyfriend's money to buy this book. I used my own. Speaking of which, it's important that your significant other, who, as your career as a rock star picks up momentum, will become your somewhat significant other, and later still, your ex, be employed in a career that can pay for your tools of your trade. Musical instruments, tally it here. musical instruments, van, clothes, food, and of course, the big one, drugs. Since you're going to be watching a lot of TV, you're going to need to be very, very high. I cannot attest to this. Exotic dancing is a traditional career choice for female significant others of rock stars. But any sufficiently remunerative career will do, with the exception of prostitution. As an aspiring rock star, you are going to be the prostitute in the family. Try not to bust up at that part, because that's really fucking funny. Now that you've assembled your band and you've got the right attitude, and drugs, let's write us some songs. I know there's a record somewhere around here. Alright, so we got, it's like a script here. That's cool. And a nice illustration of a lady's posterior. I hope I don't get censored on that. It's happened before. Mr. Interlocutor. What do you call a rock musician who doesn't have a boyfriend or girlfriend? Mr. Bones. Homeless. Thurman, Strom, Ed. 2000 great minstrel routines for parlor, picnic, and church socials. Rib Tickle Press. Sphincterville. That's a deep cut. I don't know if any of you kids know who Strom Thurmond is, but he was a legendary piece of shit. And he died looking like a raisin. They literally wheeled him out to vote on things. Like he's the fucking emperor from Warhammer, except a senator. And less evil than the emperor from Warhammer. Drugs will make you more creative. For example, Led Zeppelin 3 would not have been possible without, well, drugs. Will make you feel more creative, at any rate. It will also make you seem more creative to your audience as long as they're doing the ingesting. This is why you should encourage drug use among your fans. That's a pro tip. Mr. Interlocutor. God, that's a mouthful. That sounds like a Warhammer thing. Say, Mr. Bones. Mr. Bones. Oh, yes, man, Chicoloda. I'm just gonna fudge the word. Mr. Intercola. What does a stripper with an asshole... I botched that one. What does a stripper do with an asshole before she goes to work? Mr. Bones. She drops him off at band practice. Developing your art. Carefully crafting your song creations. First, take some of these chords. Okay. Take them. Take them. We got them. We got them. I like that one. Ooh, I like that. That one's funny. Now add lyrics. Just pretend that you have some thoughts, feelings, etc., and express them in plain, obtuse English, much like this book. If you have your junior high school creative writing assignments handy, that'll do just fine. If you have someone else's junior high school creative writing assignments handy, even better. Otherwise, don't worry. No one pays attention to the lyrics anyway. Just find some words and sprinkle them on top. What's that? You say you don't know where to find any words? Why, there are words in newspapers, magazines, and even on television. What has technology done for our lives? Most importantly, other songs have plenty of words that you can reuse in yours. If the beavers in your brain have created a log jam, the following chart will help you get started on the road to becoming the next William Gilbert. Or, for your younger readers, Ira Gershwin. Or that Ira Gershwin. Depends on the region of Germany. Simply pick a word from each column and you will have the first line of your new aria. Good luck, Mozart. All right, here we go. I'll just run down the list. Need hold you, summer day, classic. Want touch them, winter night. We're already there, I think. Crave kiss us, moonlit ship. Oh man, that's the soundtrack to Titanic. Demand love my horse, the Mike Pence song. Sultry rodeo, again the Mike Pence song. Lust to eat her starlit castle, don't we all? Also, I'm skipping a few words here, but I think that enhances our album. Burn gouge him. Burn gouge him. I think that was actually in our featured record for the week. Someone look that up. Or maybe that was a Cremator lyric. Gloomy Field. Now that's Ghoul. Lung Rock Them. Stoner Rock. Sunny Street. Hunger Party with My Love on a Dreary Cosmic Convergence. That's Cynic. Itchador My Uzi. Joyous Equinox. Rap Rock? Or maybe Sabaton. Thirst Bludgeon Space Troopers. Now we're getting somewhere. Desperate Dairy Queen. Who was the center who goes to Dairy? Chuck Grassley. I'm going to go to Dairy Queen for you know what. And Space Troopers. Now just keep the flow going, tossing in a few rhymes if possible. If you come across any snags, here are some more words and phrases you can use. All copyright free. You get value in this stream. Dancing Demon, Blood Drenched, Kitten, Hold Your Hand, Patriarchy, Guilty, Enslavement, Quest, Lonely Gat, Mother, Motherfucker, Fucking Motherfucker, Fucking Motherfucker, Sensitive, Beer, Fullness, Andromedon, Platonic, Shit-Kicking Buddies, Masturbating, A Slight Problem with My Line of Credit, Rock and Roll. Don't forget to yell Mama from time to time so the guitarist will know when to take off on a scorching lead. For example. So I guess my stream is now going to be classified as adult. I was hoping maybe I could get some children in here. That's where the money is, man. Start talking about toys and shit. Give a toddler an iPad and you're a billionaire. Maybe that's the book I should be reading. Your Song for You, The Phantom Surfers, copyright 2008. I itch to touch him on a summer equinox. I'm just going to read this as poetry because, you know, I don't know how it's supposed to sound. It's probably surf rock if it's them. Keeping that flow going, keeping that flow glowing. The dancing demon and the blood-drenched kitten. Sensitive motherfucking motherfucker. Growing. Mama! Chorus. The patriarchy's guilty. I'm lonely, hold my hand. I want to finish writing the song so my shit-kicking buddies can hold my hand. And Ayn Rand. Rock and roll, mama! Fuck yeah! Pretty good, eh? Now you know how Bob Dylan, Greg Lake, and Fred Durst all attained their reputations as lyrical geniuses. Wow, that was quite a passage. I'm going to look at the chat now. I hope you're all having a good time. I know I am, like legitimately. How long have I been at this? It's been an hour. I might go 3, depending on how much I enjoy the book. All right, I'm going to read the chat now. So, Kaiju, that's good. Hey, yeah, you're right, Kaiju, I would. Yeah, New York Ninja, what a legacy. But yeah, I think you're onto something there. Except there's no such thing as a summer equinox, but you geniuses already knew that. I'm sure you people in the chat already called that out. I'm not even kidding on that. So Witchy had to have caught that. Noted for such immortal couplets as "They were sent by the gates, ride the tides of fate," which provided the artistry that had previously been lacking in Mussorgsky's Great Gates of Kiev. Classic one, that. Yeah, that's cool. I listen to stuff like that. She's cool. I like those Riot Girl acts. The novelty factor. Now is the time to borrow that pitch of originality we mentioned earlier. This will give your band a novel flavor, something like the alleged taste of hazelnut in the hazelnut coffee your neighborhood gas station sells, and that some poor saps actually drink. Despite the fact that the 1040 motor oil is slightly more fit for human consumption. You're on tour, Ross. You probably know that. You may need to get your fingernails a little dirty by exposing yourself to genuine talents, but it will be well worth it. It will be helpful to frame your breathtakingly new angle in one or more of the established banalities of rock rebellion. cutting-edge sexuality, and vague sloganeering that are good potential marketing handles. They've worked wonders for otherwise undistinguished acts in the past. Council's A&R representative Denise Wonderchuffer of the hit boutique label Barracuda Records, a wholly owned subsidiary of the Amalgamated Entertainment Corporation. Be careful, though. Too much flavor spoils the broth. The roadside is littered with bands whose mission statements were too ambitious. Retro guns with a technotronic edge spreading a message of compassionate fascism is not only meaningless to your average schlub, however much it might mean to the brilliant thinker that coined it, but it won't fit on a normal bumper sticker unless the letters used are so small as to be unreadable. Not a bad idea in this case. The vaguest wisp of novelty will suffice. As mentioned before, when the time comes, it will be supercharged brains in the marketing department of your chosen record label that will decide what market niche you can best exploit. See, now we're getting into the weeds of things. And look, they've included a lot of pretty pictures. I say that because that's what the caption at the bottom says, a lot of pretty pictures. There may be some square pegs in your band that have difficulty adapting to whatever shape niche they're assigned, in which case they'll have to go. An inability to compromise one's deeply held principles for the sake of the marketplace may indicate that someone is potentially a true artist, and we know what happens to them. Of course, the marketing poobahs can only guess at what pop cultural innovations the public wants. It is the supreme glory of the American electoral system that it is almost impossible to steal any election that isn't fairly close outside of Chicago. I should also note this book was written a very long time ago. Well, at least 10 years. So that joke is a lot less funny nowadays, I have to say. It's the glory of free enterprise system that consumers can generally be introduced to spend money only on those items for which they have some latent and generally misguided desire. No amount of huckstering is going to convince the American public to buy anything that they're absolutely certain that they don't want, such as books without a lot of pretty pictures. See the left. Nonetheless, young rock star to be, your faith in the occult science of marketing will probably be rewarded. Take heart in the countless marketing miracles that have already occurred. Before some research labs specializing in developing new means of inducing cancer in small rodents came up with that artificially nut-flavored coffee, do you imagine that there existed an ardent public desire for hazelnut-flavored swill? Were devotees of gas station coffee in the habit of introducing ground hazelnut in their Java? Certainly not. But now masses that would never dream of the time to actually crack a hazelnut ingest gallons of foul, vaguely hazelnutty, watered-down sludge. Remember, this is your art, and your art is an expression of who you are. You are that watered-down sludge. I do like sludge metal. Keep it up, you hazelnuts. Welcome to level 2, or abandon all hope, all who enter here. One more time. What was the lesson we all learned, everyone? Type in the chat. If you can't go immediately, I forgot, to level 3, say it with me, remain on level 1. Of course, we expect most of our readers to ignore this, which is why I'm drilling it into your heads tonight, and all other sage advice, and set their sights on level 2, that cruel purgatory that paradoxically rarely leads any higher limbo for the lost souls who tread its desolate byways. So, as the Grateful Dead so poignantly urge their fellow rockers, let's get trudging like the Doodah Man. Manager, business manager, beggar man, thief. That was a movie starring Gary Oldman, I believe. Your first order of business as a professional musician is to quit your straight job so that you can devote yourself full time to your art without cutting into your television watching and drug taking time. Part-time jobs such as selling your blood and writing chain letters telling of the miracles that have entered the lives of those who have sent well-concealed cash to the Phantom Surfer Winter Vacation Fund, 535 Stevenson Street, San Francisco, California, 94103, are acceptable when your gig schedule is not too heavy. Next, you need a manager. A rock star without a manager is as ridiculous as a politician or any other career criminal without a lawyer. An enthusiastic friend without any experience or professional credentials will probably have to suffice at first. Fortunately, your enthusiastic friend will be more than willing to put lots and lots of extra hours acting as a booking agent, publicist, officer for unsecured loans, cook, and even holsterer when your boyfriend or girlfriend gives you the heave-ho. In the years that you're struggling to get a break, of course, their 15 to 25% will be less than worthless. But at once you've accumulated sufficient buzz to attract the interest of a fully licensed and better connected manager, you can repay your friend's efforts with a lawsuit for having booked your shows without being a licensed talent agency whose schedule is published with the state labor commissioner, as well as professional incompetence as a manager. Professional incompetence will be easy to prove since your former manager was merely a passionate amateur. Furthermore, since the passion and amateurness are frowned upon in our society, the bench will likely throw the book at your former friend. I know there are some people who may be able to attest to this. I will wait for their confirmation. I am not a lawyer. If this sounds unfair, don't worry. This is tater tots compared to what your new, fully legitimate manager will be doing to you. He or she will be assisted in this by your business manager who will take care of your books and oversee the flow of subterranean rivers of cash that you'll never see. This will be an acquaintance of your manager who is certified professional planner, CFP, certified public accountant, or someone who nearly qualified for a license and certification to practice and is now practicing to practice. Don't worry, if you ever generate enough money to tempt your business manager into taking powder, you'll know it by the postcard he or she sends to you from some quaint nation that has no extradition treaty with the United States. Here is an easy way to remember the difference between your manager and a business manager. The manager is like the captain of the pirate ship that is your career, while the business manager is responsible for hiding the treasure safely. So you won't be able to waste your money on impulse buys, such as detailed reproduction of Queen Maria of Austria's gilded coach filled with a 70-30 blend of Colombian blue flake and Peruvian pink powder cocaines. In fact, if your business manager does his job well, you'll never get a chance to spend your money at all. In brief, your management team will make decisions about your career that you are not qualified to make, such as publishing and merchandising deals, so that you can give your full attention to the decisions that you are capable of making, such as what shape of custom guitar to get and whether you would wear striped or polka dot spandex tights. Why not think of them as your new foster parents? Better still, why not just slit your wrist now and be done with it? Again, that is a quote from the book. I do not encourage the activities of said things. This is a quote from the book. I hope that is enough to cover my legal ground, because it is a quote from a book. Is that fair use? If it's fair use, write the Phantom Surfers at... just clip it. Just clip it, Kaiju. I don't even know if Kaiju's here. That's just a catchphrase at this point. Is Flabbeth here? I'm spinning gold here, and he's got like 40 fucking guitars. You could have had your shot tonight, buddy. The motto of the music industry. I will make them an offer they will be too ignorant and desperate to refuse. That was a terrible impression. That was an impression of someone who's seen the impression on a rerun of SNL. A bad one. Booking agent. Now that you've got your level 2 attitude in place, it's time to earn your level 2 stripes by going on tour. And not one of those goof-off fun monkey shine tours that you might have fooled around with on level 1. It's time to think and act like a professional, in the devout hope that you may someday be paid like one. So pack up your troubles, along with a toothbrush, and let's visit a booking agent. And just what does a booking agent do for you? One might ask as well where the naughty little flea goes. But since you asked, though admittedly at our prompting, a booking agent books your shows. Now, don't you feel like the silly little red-faced boo-bookins for asking? I know you all do. You cheery red-faced boo-bookins. The booking agent also receives a percentage of your pay in return for negotiating with the club owner or self-styled promoter, who will receive a percentage for being intermediary who screws up communication between all parties concerned. And doing the work of routing your tour itinerary that puts you in Minneapolis on Tuesday, St. Louis on Wednesday, and a Montana location to be announced on Thursday. You will henceforth pay the same 10 to 15% for all shows you play, whether the agent booked them or not, even if it's your niece's birthday party or some other local venue where you have performed for years previous to the agreement. For this reason, you should wait until you're ready to mount full-scale level 2 tour before picking up this piece of baggage. Once you are ready to get into the swing of constant touring, however, you may as well employ a booking agent if one will have you. And why not? With $35 a piece, you may be lucky enough to average a night. There's plenty to spread around. After deducting 15 to 25% of the evening's earnings take for your manager and 10 to 15% for the booking agent, you'll still have $21 or more to spend on gas, lodging, food, hint, mustard sandwiches, drugs, and if you weren't abusing any substances before, you'll surely find them necessary for dealing with the epic boredom on the road. Almost everybody else does. And clean needles before you have to dip into the advance that your record company generously loaned you. If you need to skimp, you can always forgo clean needles every so often. What's a little hep C between friends? So, let's do like Henry Rollins and get in the van. Careful, that's my foot. All right, here's another comedy sketch. Wild Win and Willie Flat. They were singing on the road again. What brings to mind a joke that has nothing to do with the matter at hand, other than being closer to humorous than anything else in this chapter? What did Ice-T say when the roof of his mansion fell on him? Yo, homie, get off me. I hope Ice never sees this. If I want to be known for anything that Ice-T saw, it's not that. Ice-T, if you're watching this, I hope they attach the context to it. I admire your body of work. And Black Hoodie is actually one of my favorite songs. That song fucking rules. Touring. Taking your music to people who don't especially want to hear it. The very warp and woof of a level 2 band in constant touring. Yes. The fabled life of the touring rock band. To be reviled outcasts who fob off shoddy merchandise on the trusting locals, though I suppose they're probably thrusting at points as well, before slipping off into the next town targeted for your clumsy depredations, to be driven around from town to town, or for most level 2 bands who drive themselves from town to town. The touring life combines the excitement of visiting such hot spots as Toxidump, New Jersey, and Sheep Dip, North Dakota on consecutive nights, with the satisfaction of working a sub-minimum wage job. You'll surely be smiling when you finally collect your $35 after a night of rocking, capped by the pleasure of lengthy symposium surveying the semantic, synaptic, and ultimately pragmatic significance of terms such as guarantee, meal, and free drinks with the manager of the club. Inevitably an intellectual force beyond reckoning who will demonstrate the fallacy of your understanding of said terms. Yeah, the guarantee was what I was hoping I could pay you, and you did get a meal, I saw you eating those pretzels, and I'm giving you a 50-cent discount per drink on your tab. With how much you drank, that's almost a free drink apiece. In fact, it is said indictment of the low premium that our society places on intellectual achievement that such dazzling dialecticians and sizzling sophists must earn their daily bread by overseeing shithouse bars. Touring the dream. Touring the reality. Who farted? Everybody! It's a palace on wheels. I think it's time for a water break and a chat viewing. How is everyone? Are you enjoying the book? I know I am. Seriously, though, I am enjoying this book. It's good. Oh, by the way, if you hear like a large thud in here suddenly, there's a duct in the roof, and whenever the heater clicks on it, it sucks the filter up, and it makes this loud thump. It's really annoying, actually. It sounds like someone suddenly opened a door, and I live alone. It's going to get me killed one day, I'm sure. I hope I don't have to go to the bathroom soon. All right, well, let's look at the chat. How's the chat doing? Everyone good? Yeah. No, he does not need to see that. He does not need to see that. All right. Let's continue. By the way, tell your friends. Tell people to get in here, all right? I'm going to save this whole thing because I don't know about you. I'm happy with this. I'm not crying. I just had to burp. Although I may cry later. I don't know what kind of turn this book is going to have. Enter Sound Man. I like that. Although you'll be dealing with many types of folk in the course of your rockin' tour, special mention must be made of the Soundmen. These sonic alchemists will tell you that load-ins at 4:30, sound check at 5, and then amble in at 7 o'clock to go through the arduous sound check ritual that will have nothing to do with the sound of the actual concert. The sound man. Who is he? How did he get here? What sort of pre-qualification and training has he undergone? Even the lowly security guard must pass a rudimentary exam in order to receive a license from the state. Not so the sound man. Any half-deaf loady who can't keep track of a gaggle of carefully labeled cables can become a so-called audio engineer, and most likely will. Oh, we can hear the caterwauling now. I'm a great sound man. Everyone sucks but me. This is my room. I got a killer mix. With all due respect, this is all 100% grade A poppycock. The shenanigans of this profession over the years have been many. How do those glorified knob twirlers manage to stay employed? It is beyond the feeble limits of our understanding. The more generous readers may be thinking that the almost universally poor sound reproduction of live musical events cannot be the fault of the fellow behind the board. Then how to explain the most universally poor sound at live venues? Many have state-of-the-art systems in which the venue owner has invested enormous sums of capital in relation to the size of the venue, yet he hands it over to someone with no training. Would he hire a chauffeur who could not drive? A butler who was unprepared in the art of butlering? A band with no talent? Oops. Well, you get the point. It seems a bit hokum to give the title of sound engineer to these nudniks. That's the second time. Is that Swedish? The engineers we know sacrifice long and hard to earn the right to design a bridge or an airplane wing. To lump a tone-deaf goldbricker in with the craftsman. By the way, I love that term, goldbricker. I think I've used that on the term. Very underutilized term. It's old-timey, and I like old-timey. Look it up. Where were we? Yes. Lump a tone-deaf goldbricker in with craftsmen who design, say, satellites is a crock of the highest magnitude. Let us dissect the makeup of our subject. Almost universally male. Confident that he is at the peak of his profession. usually has the outward appearance of Sasquatch, alternatively, Yeti, skunk ape, or Bigfoot, depending on where you were squired, indicates laconically that he likes all kinds of music, but is really an Alan Holdsworth fan at heart. I don't get that reference. If you get that reference, please email us. Is only doing sound until his band goes on the road, which will never happen. Or a band is impressed enough by his finesse at the mixing board to ask him to engineer produce their album, which will never happen. Always asks the band for a free copy of their CD, even though he has no intention of listening to it. I mean, that's kind of nice. Anthropologists, sociologists, and swamp ape hunters have long wondered why one almost always finds a male manning, of course, the sound booth. In our expert opinion, it would appear that for a certain type of social misfit, the straw boss position of sound man allows an outlet for the belligerent conceitedness that tends to be the province of the male in societies that produce and use PAs. For these sad misfits, control over the sound of some hapless band is the only authority he ever gets to exercise. This is why he insists on using every microphone at his disposal, even though they can never seem to remember which channel on the mixing board is the ride cymbal, mic, and which is the guitar amp. This is the sound man. Sound women, on the other hand, are consistently competent and therefore less amusing to write about. Besides, unless you're playing in Japan, where most clubs seem to employ sound women, most of the time you'll have a blustering male struggling with well-justified feelings of inadequacy as a conduit through which your music must pass to whatever semblance of an audience is in the club. Not that your sound man blind date for the evening will be completely useless. There are some functions that he will perform quite ably. There's not enough low end coming through the sound system, he'll add more kick drum and bass to the mix. If there's not enough treble in the sound system, he'll add more kick drum and bass to the mix. If the drummer's monitor isn't working, he'll turn up one of the other monitors, unleashing a bancy shriek of feedback that he will insist is coming from one of the guitar amps. Then he'll add more kick drum and bass to the mix. We don't even need a kick drum, and that's all I can hear. Good joke. I'm going to put our kitty marker in there because I'm tired of putting this thing on my feet. How we all doing? I'm down a bottle of water. My gut looks very protrusive. That's okay. Man, I have a piece of sweet and sour pork that has been stuck in the back of my teeth for the last several hours now, and it is quite annoying. Let's continue. Let me look at chat too. Yeah, I buy the fancy stuff, Timmy. Not only is this water, this is alkaline water. So if I find the negative water, I can become a battery. The DIY way. Now we're talking. While waiting for your big break, you may find that a stint in the world of DIY provides valuable experience, as well as opportunities to make contacts that will benefit you until better contacts come along. This illustration says knives for sale, and they're all stabbing each other in the back. A noteworthy element of the DIY community is the bond of trust between distributors, labels, and musicians that makes possible the merry dance of commerce. DIY stands for do-it-yourself, a key component of the rock dating back to the 50s, when the likes of Jerry McCain, Choo Choo Rock, Geronimo Rock, and Sleepy McWilliams, Hillbilly Rock, Rock and Roll Rock, recorded their own records. Most pioneering DIY artists only maintained control up to the point of handing over the master recordings to a small label that would subsequently neglect to pay them, while others went so far as to pay for the manufacture of the records, which they then supplied to the distributors that subsequently neglected to pay them. Still a popular practice, incidentally. At least it's popular with the distributors. Similarly, in the 60s, many garage bands scraped together the money to release their own records, generally singles, selling them at dances, giving them to friends, and making frequent disguised phone voice calls to local radio stations to request them. The 70s saw a resurgence of DIY, as numerous pre-punk, proto-punk, punkity-punk, and other types of underground bands defied the apathy of the record industry and the record-buying public by releasing their own records in hopes that the few people to purchase their efforts would be able to turn a large profit as soon as eBay was invented. Of late, the concept of DIY has grown to include any small label, including some that are run as full-time businesses and emulate the models of major labels in so much as they can manage. Example, by doing everything as possible to avoid paying their bands, which is only fair since distributors do everything possible to avoid paying labels. Signing with one of these and having them put out your album is a great way to do it yourself. Record labels, or, my, what sharp lawyers you have, Grandma. Just taking a quick little break here. How we doing? Well, everyone having a good night? I hope you're having a good night. I'm having a good night. Thinking if I want to eat something after this. What should I eat? Email us at redlettermedia@redlettermedia.com. Email Mike Stoklasa at redlettermedia.com. You don't have to be signed in order to be a level 2 band. Second level attitude and the recklessness to back it up are the most important attributes. Nonetheless, the approval of a label, even if it's run by a couch-surfing teen who's still recovering money from parents unaware that their child has dropped out of college to pursue their rock business pipe dream, see DIY, will help to inflate your ego to the extent necessary to think that you can pan some gold out of the record industry cesspool. If you weren't taking drugs on a regular basis before, this will be a great time to start, as the ensuing disassociation from reality will allow you the cherished illusion that you are actually residing in level 3. This same freedom from the constrictions of reality, incidentally, comes in handy for anyone who wants to believe that his or her creative endeavors are especially significant. This is why you will find plenty of rockers on all 3 levels who use whatever drugs they can obtain whenever possible. Since you will insist on purchasing the thorny trail through the 2nd level because you are so well talented and will certainly beat the odds, you might as well try to get some moolah from the ambulatory VD culture of a record label that you are crawling into bed with. The big catch is that the entertainment corporations with the wherewithal to pay your services are only going to loan you the money, even though they make more money from the efforts of entertainers than entertainers make from them. In short, the money that you will initially receive in return for your perpetual rights to your work is merely a loan against future earnings of whatever you produce, even though most of the money will be spent producing goods for the label and promoting what you've produced for them. This is all very confusing. The exceptional bit of ingenuity lurking in this brimstone-reeking pact is that you will be forced to spend much of this loan on services that the label, or another subsidiary of their parent corporation, will provide at the inflated costs that you can afford now that you're level 2 rich. Their recording studio, their engineer, their graphic design department, their video production company, their publicist, and etc., etc., etc. And don't forget the distant corporate branch that manufactures official rock merchandise with old world craftsmanship in the quaint sweatshops of exotic locales. Ah, Bangladesh. I lost my place. Ah, there it is. Those with the liability of something approximating a social conscience may rest assured that almost $1.19 a day will trickle into the pockets of children who produce your $35 official tour t-shirts. I would like to state for the record that I know for a fact that mine that I'm currently wearing by the lovely people at Clitorati do not partake in such things. Hello, Amy. Uh, You'll also be spending a chunk of Mazuma to mount the concert tours that are supposed to make your product, which the label owns, more valuable. Since corporations have indefinite lifespans, your label will be free to generate revenue from your work long after the rights of any of your statutory next of kin or their heirs lapse. If in dim futurity your artistic legacy actually becomes the hoped for money tree, your label won't even have to bother with creative accounting to keep your yearly simoleon harvest themselves. Why do record labels dictate such unfair terms? For the same reason that dogs lick their own genitals and will... I'm skipping that next line. Because they can. The pea-filled talent pool is crowded with the bands nigh indistinguishable from each other, all willing to mold themselves and their product to the dictates of an entertainment corporation and so eager for a slim chance of the brass ring that they'll sell their birthrights for a messy cottage or tour bus. It goes without saying that you will not be provided with perks such as medical insurance. Maybe you better splurge on clean needles after all. But if you avail yourself of the backstage deli trays and skip most of the meals, you may be able to save enough out of your daily allowance, or per diem, as the rock groups of ancient Rome called it, to make the premiums for whichever coverage your pal Ed McMahon is hawking on television. Oh, Ed, I shall miss your glorious laughter. I mean, I can watch it anytime I want, but I still miss him. We have an elaborate chart of a monkey wearing a crown on its posterior. It's a funny chart. Take my word for it. It's too complicated. Ooh, this is a spicy chapter. Top secret serious shit. As mentioned, it is possible to operate on level 2 without the validation and smidgen of operating capital of a label. But it takes much greater reserve of self-love as well as money to do so. Conversely, it's possible to stay at level 1 after signing to a label, but it's very rare for a label to want anything to do with a band whose members selfishly refuse to sacrifice financial security, long-term relationships, and personal happiness for the sake of maximizing the return of the label's investment. For the most part, signed bands are level 2 bands, and level 2 bands are signed bands. We now approach the $1 million, actually more often the $50,000, $100,000 question, the answer to which is the piece of knowledge that most buyers of books such as this are seeking. How do I get signed? Bear in mind that you're going to get the stinky end of the crappiest poop stick imaginable. How do I get signed? Be much better off. How do I get signed? And developing your... How do I get signed? And at least developing yourself. How do I get signed? Stop interrupting for one... How do I get signed? How do I get signed? How do I get signed? Fine, just remember. You asked for it. Next chapter. How do I get signed? An interesting sidelight to the careers of Henry Ford and his ardent protege Adolf Hitler is that, in the course of their justly famed pioneering of music industry ethics, they also became leading architects of the modern corporate entity. A vast improvement in terms of efficiency on the antiquated corporate state, promulgated by the Vatican, with its reliance on secret caches of rare pornography and gold. Less interesting, but sadly more germane to the present work, are the ways in which the industry, as insiders are wont to call it, is in its ceaseless quest of the endless pursuit of the continual search to discover ways of maintaining their stringent policy of quantity over quality, has modernized the practices of these two trailblazers. Especially helpful in this regard have been industry-sponsored studies in the fields of psychology and sociology, such as the Stanford Prison Experiment, the CIA's MKUltra program, and that guy who attached electrodes from car batteries to the private parts of chimps and posted videos of his experiment on the internet. And we all gained a lot of valuable technology from that. Let their sacrifice not be in vain, those chimps. It is thanks to such noble efforts that we, the public, are provided with the entertainment we deserve. This is why it is important that, be it jazz, punk, alternative, indie, especially indie, or whatever other type of music is in your bag, you only purchase music that has been accorded by Accorded major label approval. There is an error in this book. Maybe that makes it more valuable. Remember, they wouldn't put it out if they didn't want you to buy it. Hence the Baja Men. Ugh, I gotta try and cross my leg this way. Hopefully I don't kick my camera over. How are we doing, chat? I feel like I should have a roaring fire back here. And whiskey. But I'm not going to have whiskey. I'm just having water tonight. I'm being a good boy. So how are we doing? Oh, what's going on, Electro Timmy? Oh, no. It might. I'll get back to you. Okay. So how you are surely still wondering, do you become a part of this exciting world? Getting signed is all about connections, networking, interfacing. It is a very simple process that can be summed up by the old adage. It's not what you know, it's who you blow. By integrating yourself into the most powerful people you can latch onto, discarding them from the most powerful people they know, and repeating the process indefinitely, you will eventually find yourself signed. It really is that simple. Typical books, or how-to books on music business, will advise you to record a demo, simply because all the other struggling bands do so. In truth, recording a demo is a waste of your time and your parents' money. None of the industry pundits know what the hell they're looking for. Burn a CD that is classic rock and submit them as your demo. Nobody's going to listen to it anyway. What they're going to want to know is about your buzz. If you have a well-connected manager or entertainment lawyer, some people may actually pay attention to his or her buzzing. But how to get a member of that blessed realm to vouch for you? A good question. By building up some buzz of your own, you little bumblebee. A member of your band dying of a drug overdose makes for good buzz, but make sure you have a replacement lined up. You can also build buzz by getting your friends and families to harass newspapers, periodicals, and radio stations. Don't forget to have them disguise their voice with requests to feature your band. This is especially effective if you have no product to promote. Radio stations will feel foolish they don't have your music on tap. And word of your popularity will spread through the grapevine like vine rot. If, as is likely, you've already alienated your friends and family with your insufferable posturing, you'll have to engage in these antics of your own damn self. While you're at it, don't forget to stuff the ballot when the local free magazine has their annual readers poll. Since no one has ever employed these clever strategies before, you're sure to fool everyone into thinking you're popular. As soon as you trick someone into believing that there is a demand for your band of musical snake oil, others will quickly beat a path to your door for fear of not getting in on the ground floor of some emerging trend. Now that you've really got a buzz going, you've got to keep that buzz going. Of course, that means more drugs, but it also means keeping your eyes open for the opportunity to make more connections. Use any connections that you've amassed to make better connections, then cut those losers loose. So what if they believed in you when no one else did? So what if your sweet little old grandmother? Kick her for a field goal, even if you have to dig her up to do it. There's no room for sentiment here, bucko. We got records to sell. If you want to reach for the stars, you're going to have to use anyone available as a rung on the ladder. Some will say that you should be nice to the people you meet along the way because you'll be seeing them again on your way down. That's the way losers think. You're a winner and you're never coming down. If you keep betraying the trust of those near and dear to you while kissing enough ass, a euphemism for the much less tasteful acts you'll actually be performing, I just reread that, of those on the higher ladder, you will eventually find yourself with the recording contract you so richly deserve. Assholes All, your guide to the entertainment industry. Clawing your way to the top. There is one big secret in the industry. Without this big secret, you will be drifting through the tempestuous seas of stardom on a rudderless, provisionless raft with no idea of your bearings. Armed with this big secret, you will have some idea of your bearings as you drift through those tempestuous seas on a rudderless raft with no provisions. The big secret, and this is in all caps, but I'm not going to read it in all caps because that will be obnoxious. Warning, before reading the following, think twice about whether you're really ready to know the truth, this knowledge. Are we ready, everyone? Advanced beyond the teachings dreamt of by Rosicrucians, 32nd degree Masons, or even graduates of the Healed Institute of Technology, has been known to cause severe despondency, sometimes culminating in violence. And this next passage is upside down. Maybe it's satanic. Every person who can help you on your journey to stardom is going to be an asshole who will gladly spend $5 to cheat you out of 50 cents. This is also true of those who can help you despite claiming that they can. How's the chat doing? Why are you unplugging your ears? I don't get that reference. I'm sorry. That is lost on me. Please only make jokes I get. Words of consolation to help you cope with the big secret. Don't worry too much about what you've just read. Most of the time, these assholes will be able to cheat you out of your 50 cents without having to lay out any additional money. In fact, you'll want to help them cheat you. Why? Because you want, nay, need to be a star. It's an expression of who you are. Once you're a star, of course, it's your time to shine. That's when you get to be the asshole that you've always dreamed of being. Goals. Why God isn't an asshole? Except for his refusal to help you become a rock star. I apologize for the blasphemy for the religious viewers tonight. Again, I did not write this book, nor have I read it previously. I think it's time for a water break. I'd like to give a shout out to my bladder tonight. That cat is so cute. Also, if you look, it's a tiny baby kitten. It's sitting on a palm. That's cute. I'll read the fact on the back when I'm done, too. Don't let me forget. Also, there's other blurbs on the back that are really funny. I'll try to get those, too. Assuming I can finish this tonight. We're about halfway through, and we're at about 11 o'clock. I think I'll keep going. However, I think I will take a bathroom break. I hope you stay for the interlude. I'm just going to keep reading this thing because I kind of like to do it one and done. Why? I don't know. I suppose I could also do this next week. But, at the very least, let me go to the bathroom, and then we will continue this magical journey into the realm of music stardom. I hope you're all taking notes. I don't actually care if you're taking notes. I will be right back. I'll sing Spanish Flea while I go, too. Talk amongst yourselves. back in this man bun while keeping things manageable is giving me a slight headache, unfortunately. I'll take a vote. Viewers, do I take the hair down and potentially get in the way of the pages and touch the mic and risk audio distortion from the volume of the hair? That was kind of a joke. Or do I just leave the bun in? I'll leave it up to you. Now I'll look at the chat. All right. Hair for the hairless kitty. My hair is still kind of damp. I took a shower before this. I didn't want you all to smell me on the stream. See, I'm very conscious of that for you guys. That's how much I care about you. Dissector and Digester don't care if they stink, and believe me, they do. Any of you who have seen a show can attest to that. They are smelly. They are frightful. They are just gross. Just gross. Disgusting, in fact. All right, I feel better. I hope you do too. Let's continue on our journey. Why God... Okay, that's where we were. That's right. Why God is an asshole, except for his refusal to help you become a rock star. Consider the myriad annoyances that compose such a large part of the human condition. There are two classes that arise from acts of God, demonstrating that God really thinks of us, those that are caused by other humans. And those that are caused by other humans. The latter, in turn, comprises two orders. Those resulting from lameness, which is merely a human manifestation of entropy, and those generated by assholes. As a rock star in training, as with any would-be celebrity, you must strive to be an asshole at all times and be in places with the goal of causing more annoyance, and hence aggravation, than you receive from others. When you achieve the demigod status of level 3 rockstar, you will be even less subject to the constraints of sensible and sober conduct than the other celebrities, such as movie stars and politicians. In fact, genuine rock stars are expected to not merely display signs of arrested development, but to behave like degenerate, half-witted specimens of arrested development in as much as circumstances permit. Just consider that the incredibly accurate description of rockstar in the film Showgirls, if you doubt us. It's documentary. Very good documentary, by the way. Truly, rock stars are the favored children of the universe. When you get to the top, you'll be able to experience the fun and joy of that rock stars have enjoyed since the dawn of the age of rock. You can destroy hotel rooms, heap abuse on representatives of the media, and shit on the floors of fine restaurants. The goal of any great artist. Of course, it's ridiculous to try to emulate the antics of your role models before you arrive at level 3 rock stardom. But you can still sample the fruits that you, by virtue of your great talent, so richly deserve. Just scale down your antics in accordance with your apprentice status. For example, you can destroy your mom or girlfriend's room, heap abuse on representatives of the service industry. And that has a footnote here. But wait until after you've gotten your Big Mac, unless you like eating spit and floor sweepings. This is true. And 3, of course, the classic, we all know, shit your pants. Small wonder that so many youngsters favor rock stars as their future careers, as it will save them from the trouble of ever becoming adults. Y'all know who I'm talking to. Do you believe in magic? Or rocking around the cargo cult? Speaking of naive beliefs, see footnote 1 on page 72, and from now on, pay attention. One of the most charming tendencies of aspiring rock stars is the mental affinity that many of them have with the Melanesian cargo cults. For those of you who skip social studies, a cargo cult is known to have sprung up around certain magic-believing peoples after observing colonial and military visitors. And there's the footnote there. It is assumed that there are no atheists reading this book as a primitive and superstitious view of the universe, the sort that pays the electricity bills in the Vegas Strip. is required to believe that one can buck the tremendous odds against succeeding as a rock star. I got off topic. Yes, I'll start again. For those of you who skip social studies, cargo cults have been known to spring up among certain magic-believing peoples after observing colonial and military visitors. It's actually a very interesting topic. I suggest you read about it. Since the ships and planes that supply the strange interlopers with an incredible array of previously undreamt luxuries come from out there, whence reside deities and or ancestral spirits. Local religious fundamentalists reason that the local population only needs to set up symbolic landing strips, control towers, docks, or whatever else seems appropriate to get them to share the limitless bounty from beyond. Struggling rock tyros often display similar and equally charming beliefs in the effectiveness of rockstar life accoutrements in magically bringing them closer to their desired goal. As with the beliefs of the cargo cults, we can't prove that they're wrong. It hasn't happened yet, but one of those spirit ships loaded with canned meat and portable cassette players from the land of the dead may yet one arrive. So go ahead and spend your rent money on the same deluxe model of guitar your idol poses with. Talking to you, Flabbeth. In advertisements. Turn around and hawk the guitar 2 weeks later to buy drugs. Or Jägermeister. Best of all, hire a stretch limousine to drop you off at the club where you're in the opening act of a 5-band lineup on Tuesday night. Everyone respects the limousines, especially white limousines, though baby blue is also good. Because everyone assumes that people in limousines are wealthy. This is one of the few immeasurable natural laws of the universe. And this is true. Carl Sagan talked about it at length. How it works, or the asshole's progress. I think that was a Lifetime original. Number 1. Other bands. How's chat? How are we doing? All right. There's a lot of words there. I'm not going to read all that. That's too much. What's with all the words? Huh? Do I look like a reader? Do I look like I read? Communicate only in emojis from now on. Verbally, not the text. I need that. Don't even concern yourself with the many other bands struggling on the same level as you. They are not assholes. They're only jerks who are competing with you for your limited food supply. If they, by chance, become successful enough in comparison to your own delusionary state to bloom into assholes. I'm sorry, desultory. That's a new one. Adding that one to the arsenal if I can remember it. You won't be able to get in close enough proximity to them and their peers to receive the brunt of their newfound asshole leverage on you anyway. Therefore, your only meaningful interband socialization is to be had with bands with an even less secure footing on the road to success than yourself. By all means, deign to interact with these unfortunates, as they will provide you prime opportunities to practice your star attitude, until such time as you are sufficiently established to freely express yourself as a complete asshole. Caption here is band member expressing gratitude to 2 A&R men who have promised to listen to his demo. The second A&R man is the horse's ass, not pictured. I hope that shows up. The bottom panel is a dog playing a trumpet. A&R personnel is viewed by recording industry executives. I don't get it, but that's funny. What is A&R? Type in the chat if you know what A&R stands for. A&R people, your friends in the record business. With talent such as yours, you're bound to eventually attract the interest of A&R people, and all of them worthy of a certain amount of trust. Yes, you can trust them about as far as you can throw a chimney by its smoke. That is delightful. I need to remember that. That is wonderfully old-timey. These bullshitting keyslings of the bean-counting bottom-liners, those horse-spawned hirelings in hipster clothing, these Janus-faced jerk-off Judases, In short, these beshitted mule or horse, see picture, opposite asses, will be your special friends in dealing with the record companies for which they work. A&R people will save you considerable time and energy because with friends like them, you won't need to bother making any enemies. The A&R's part is delicate Apache dance between band and record label known as the courtship process is aptly illustrated in the following series of missives purchased at a garage sale in Frozen Butte, Minnesota. So this is a letter. Hey Jim, we're here in Hollywood. Actually, we're staying in Oxnard at Susan's place. I think I told you about her. She was the girl with the 3 pit bulls listed at her place and played LA tour last year, remember? Mary and I got fleas and Leander got crabs. Richard slept in the van with the equipment so he didn't get anything, not even any sleep. At any rate, we weren't able to schedule our big meeting with the head of the music division of Amalgamated Entertainment, but I guess we'll be in Hollywood soon enough. A guy I met in the men's room of the Rock Shack after our last set said his brother-in-law was the head of Buncombe Records. I bought him lots of drinks to get on his good side. I figured it was like an investment, you know? Before I knew it, he said he wanted to manage us. It's like a dream come true, man. You're rockin' pal. Koozie! And this is the stationery of Buncombe Records. Our product is no worse than that of any others. Wow, that's a pedigree. Hollywood, New York, London, and everywhere else. Hi, Jim. Wow. LA is a trip. Oh, wait, that's the same guy. I should have read the quote first. I did a completely different voice. Strike that from the record. Unclip that. Hey, Jim. Wow, LA is a trip. Proctor, our new manager, was all set to take us to meet with his brother-in-law at Buncombe Records. Buncombe got bought up by Amalgamated Entertainment this morning. Buncombe had signed his Christian goth band with his hot lead female singer, Notre Dame de Paris, and they were starting to get some buzz. And Amalgamated wanted, they were by their contract from Buncombe. Buncombe was asking for so much. The Amalgamated figured that they might as well just buy Buncombe, right? Serious money, how cool is that? Anyway, Proctor was given a job as an A&R man for Amalgamated after he helped negotiate with his brother-in-law about making sure his brother-in-law got his lithium and sodium pentothal. I guess he needed it because after the deal was closed, he went off somewhere for a nice long rest. So Proctor thinks that he can make good as an AR guy, working as an undercover agent, coolness among the suits, That's exactly the way he put it. How cool is that? So he's fixing us up with another manager and even as a financial manager and a booking agent. We're ready for the big time. It's like a dream come true. Koozie! Koozie sounds cool. I'd like to meet him. Fucking A, man. My throat. Ah. I was hoping not to cuss so much on this stream, but I give the people what they want, and what they want is cuss words. You disgust me. Hell Clam Records, a division of Amalgamated Entertainment, Inc. Doing things the indie way, cheap, since 1996. Hi, Jim. We've made it. We're signed to Hell Clam Records. They're a really cool independent that Amalgamated owns. The way Proctor explained it, we got the coolness and freedom of being on an indie, backed by the distribution muscle of Amalgamated. It's the best of both worlds. After the signing, there was a party with vegetarian sushi and domestic champagne from Texas, where I heard Ozzy is from. I heard it might even be from his own personal vineyard. I found out that's what they call wine and champagne farms. Proctor even did some coke with us in the bathroom, and the company, thinks he's just some suit who works for them. And we're doing coke with him. How cool is that? So Hell Clam is signing bands to compete with with Notre Dame de Percy, except they'll be satanic instead of Christian, so we'll be enemies. But not really. Kind of like the WWF, except with rock bands instead of wrestlers. So the band isn't Semper Morn anymore. It's La Belle Dame Sans Merci. And we had to let Leander go so we could get this hot chick to sing. But that's cool because he wasn't into the songs that we were writing to go with our new direction. Oh, by the way, my new name is Toe Cutter. How cool is that? I should have been reading it in his voice. I thought Toe Cutter was different. See, I've never read this book before. Now I've got a fake voice for Toe Cutter. And I've got to abandon it because I stick to my principles. That voice wasn't really doing it for me anyway. I'm going to slip back to my voice now. Where are we going? To the top. Which top? The tappy top. It's like a dream come true. Yours and Satan. Toe Cutter. And this stationer is from the Budget Inn of Los Angeles. Your home away from home on the street of broken dreams. It's like being back home. Hi, Jim. Sorry I haven't written in a while. As soon as we got the album finished, we went on a 3-month tour opening for Notre Dame de Paris. Notre Dame de Paris seemed cool enough. I got to hang out with their roadies a lot, but their fans were dicks. Most of them ignored us, but some of them threw stuff and yelled at us. Even worse, I didn't even get to hear the final version of our album yesterday, and it doesn't sound anything like us at all. They took out the drums and put in some synthesized techno thing with a few drum loops drifting in and out. And they replaced the guitar solo with a harpsichord and replaced the bass with a didgeridoo. We thought the $200,000 in our contract would last us a long time, but like with recording and re-recording and promoting the album, plus the money we lost on the tour, it's cost us $60,000 already. Like if the album was good, when Proctor says Hell Clam will give us the money to record another one. I asked him about the other $140,000, and he said that $40,000 in debt to the label for the next 2 years because the contract says that $200,000 is to be repaid at $20,000 a year for 10 years. That's not what Amalgamated lawyer told us. Proctor nodded and said a lawyer's word isn't worth the paper it's printed on. I wish he'd given us his advice earlier. It's like a nightmare. Yours in debt. Koozie. It's Koozie. There's a lot of letters. Buncombe Records. Hi, Jim. Wow, Proctor really came through for us. He's an A&R guy from Buncombe Records, and now he's arranged a deal where they buy our contract from Hellclam Records for $1.5 million. It's pretty awesome, even though we won't be getting any of that money because the money isn't really changing hands anyway. Since Amalgamated also bought Buncombe, Proctor says it's just a tax thing or something. The good news is that Buncombe also paid Hellclam the money we owed them. So even though the band is still only getting $20,000 a year, plus any money they advance us to record and tour, we're starting with a clean slate. It really put us in a positive frame of mind, which is a good thing because now we have to write some Christian punk songs, since that's the direction Buncombe is going now. By the way, our new name's Mary Magdalene and the Lippers. Keep an eye out for us. I think they're really going to let us make a video. It's like a dream come true. Yours in Christ, the Apostle Cozy. Apostle Cozy. Whew, that voice kind of took it out of me. I think it's time for a water break. You can stop talking in emojis now. All I see is that. Boy. Is anyone still watching? Am I still live? Am I dead? The what button? Okay, cool. Boy, I'm getting kind of tired. It's 11:05. I have an idea. I'm going to take another break. This one will be very quick. I'm just going to go in the other room for a second. I need to get some air. A lot of people are burning their fires outside now. It's fall. My lungs are really sensitive to that stuff. The fall fire air. It's tough in Fresno. A lot of people burn fire still. Record company executives. As illustrated here. Unfortunately, entertainment industry bigwigs will always be bigger assholes than you. There are myriad underlings employed for the specific purpose of taking their abuse, however, and if you attain a certain degree of commercial success, your record company will be glad to loan you a few of these flunkies to serve as friends to replace the old friends you've alienated with your asshole behavior. The media, man. It's the fucking media. That's our next chapter title. As previously stated, the bigger you get, the more you'll be able, nay, encouraged, to be an asshole. The representatives of the mainstream media, who are often called whores, a characterization grossly unfair to whores, are wonderful targets for whatever abuse you wish to unload. On the other hand, the smaller you are, the more abuse media hacks will pass on to you out of frustration for the abuse they have to take in the course of their rightfully thankless jobs. With the exception of a few dead or otherwise retired specimens, rock critics fall into one of two pathetic classes. The larger class, that of the amateurs and semi-amateurs, compromises arrogantly ignorant fanboys and fangirls who blithely crank out confidently stated misinformation and quarter-witted conjecture. They labor under the delusion that tossing concurrently fashionable buzzwords into their writing will make them appear sufficiently well-informed to deserve some of the reflective glory of their ideals. My hand is out of frame. Oh, glory of their idols, I'm sorry. The professional class consists of bitter former music lovers for whom nothing will ever equal the records they listened to before they became disillusioned. Like many members of the clergy who have also lost their faith, they have grown unsuitable for any real job. For any frequently use of the vocations they now despise to bestow some of their accumulated misery upon others. Of course, this is merely a sideline to the scribe's primary task of publicizing the releases of the labels that, by merest coincidence, happen to be lavishing advertising money on whatever magazine they scribble for. Members of this latter group that stay in the profession long enough will inevitably pronounce rock dead. This makes them, at best, worms feeding on the bowels of a rock's corpse. Of rock's corpse, rather, not a rock. I'm fudging a lot. I think I'm getting tired. After due consideration, we have decided that the only idea worse than attempting a career as a rock critic is attempting to write humorously about profoundly depressing subject as career rock critics. Just forget we said anything. One semi-professional fangirl brazenly used the foreword of her history of indie rock to offer as an excuse for many inaccuracies contained therein that she had limited time, quote, like none, as she put it with characteristic eloquence, for research and fact-checking. Sometimes history is written by the losers. Do the math. Egghead fans of high culture frequently decry the entertainment industry's lack of creativity. This is because they foolishly focus on the runny, pre-digested product that spews forth from the industry's nether regions. If one craves gossamer arabesque, fumes of fancy, that's another big word, and daring explorations of the realm of the unlikely, one need look no further than the industry's accounting practices, where the gross sales magically disappear into a mysterious dimension with foreboding names such as reported returns, unreported returns, and projected unreported returns, where an endless swarm of impish expenses, ancillary expenses, carried forward expenses, and projected expenses await to engulf any payments owed to the band, where, in short, you're up the shittiest of shit creek with a paddle made of shit. Unless you happen to become one of the very, very few artists who manage to sell a few million units, that is. Even then, the terms of your contract may prevent you from realizing more money from whom your first hit album and subsequent tour than you had kept your job at the shoe store. Of course, you can and will hire an experienced entertainment shyster to use your leverage as hot item to get more favorable terms on subsequent releases. But if your hot seller turns out to have been a flash in the pan, the increased points on your cutout CDs won't put any jingle in your pocket to replace the pieces of silver you had to pay your lawyer. Fortunately, of course, you are one of the special ones, possibly even the most special that has ever been. I know it, more importantly. You know it. Now, just go out and convince a few million other people. Keep them convinced, and you've got it made. Wait a minute. Why am I doing this? That's the next chapter of the book, by the way. Any reader who is not an addle-pated ninny will at one point wonder, why bother? On the other hand, any reader who is an addle-painted ninny is halfway to stardom. It didn't take the long odds quoted at the beginning of this fine tome seriously, Joan and John, any reader, will doubtless further bemoan. But I now see that there is truly, truly less hope of becoming a rock star than of winning the lottery with a laundry claim check. And the abuse and degradation one must suffer for the unlikely prospect of fleeting fame and elusive fortune. Mayhaps it is indeed better to strive for a modest and honorable life. Perhaps. Since you've come this far down the primrose path of perdition, dear Annie reader, why not take a peek around the next corner? Perchance you'll be tempted by the fortunate isles of celebrityhood, where the merest of mortals become gods. A recent survey of PAP, the publishers of American periodicals, found that there are 352 magazines that dedicate 85% or more of their non-ad space to the doings of 192 celebrities. I hope one of them is Shaq. Once you are among that select group, those magazines will print your opinions regarding any subjects on which you choose to make pronouncements. Unfortunately, nobody other than a few homicidal stalkers will actually pay attention to what you have to say unless it concerns your drug use or your sex life. You will find that your opinions on world affairs are not taken seriously. Even your last album went double platinum. Whether or not you have sex with dogs is of a much rather great... Again, I have not read this book before picking it up. Is much greater interest to the general public, especially the canine public. Oh dear. I hope I don't get New York Ninja. That's the term I'm going to start using. How's chat doing? Oh. We have fun, don't we? By the way, I'm going to need more books. Because if those numbskulls aren't going to keep shooting people on a video game, I might keep doing this. Unless people just get bored. Maybe other people discover it. I don't know. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell your clergy. Don't tell your employers, because I like to keep my options open. A recent survey, okay, we're back there, of the publishers of American periodicals. I made that joke about Shaq. There we go. That's right. I was done with that page because we got that really crass thing and I forgot everything. Since people will pay your exorbitant prices to hear you bray like an ass about your broken heart or how much you like to party, why should there be such a scant public interest when you spout off half-baked nonsense on matters of grave importance? Because we already have the finest politicians that money can buy to bray like asses while spouting off half-baked nonsense on matters of grave importance. In fact, if politicians were to take up carpeting and tights, or capering around in tights, they would put rock stars out of business entirely. I think those clowns in Congress are at it again. What a bunch of clowns. If you are truly determined, however, you can get the public to sit up and take notice of your pronouncements by voicing sufficiently unpopular opinions. Unfortunately, this is where you'll find yourself cut with a double-edged sword that is celebrity. So make certain that you use, don't abuse, your powers of celebrity. Remember that you are an agent of the status quo, and a good thing it is. Disruptions in the social order are likely to be accompanied by disruptions in the cultural order, and you may be replaced by younger, fresher celebrities even sooner than scheduled. Now that you've reaffirmed your faith in the necessity of continuing along this trail of tears, going forth to conquer or die, or wind up in rehab, let's go back to that great big ladder of success. How to overcome the odds. Congratulations. You've overcome incredible odds and actually attained a recording contract. Something that most rockers can only dream of as their tears soak their tidily clutched pillows. A few obstacles of stardom remain. Unfortunately, this is where the odds grow even longer. Whether the entertainment corporation will actually put out your album or, owing to a corporate restructuring or mere upper management whim, decide do not bother. Whether they'll bother to spend the time and money to promote it if they do put it out, whether the payola that is independent promoters spread around will do you any good, and whether the public finds your music up to the high standards the likes of Frankie Avalon, REO Speedwagon, and Slipknot are factors that must be reckoned. REO Speedwagon. Clearly, you need something in addition to the qualities that have gotten you this far to refresh your drug-damaged memory, solipsistic delusions bordering on the psychotic, creative mediocrity enhanced by a pinch of novelty, lack of artistic integrity, elastic ethics, and a willingness to debase yourself, and a great deal of luck. What you now need is a miraculous great deal of luck. Consider the posthumous career of Jesus. There were signs aplenty of other desert-wandering gurus, healers, sign prophets, rabble-rousers, and wise guys of the same circuit before, during, and after this time, some of them spouting the same end of the world in this generation message, and some even performing similar stunts, including auto-resurrection to those that made Jesus famous. As you might recall, the Rubes and Chorazin, Bethsaida, I'm not a biblicist, and Capernaum apparently having already seen flashier acts. Also, I realize I kind of sound like the Nostalgia Critic right now. I'm going to try and stop that. I like his videos a bit. Wait, the Nostalgia Critic? Stone Gremlin? He does those Christian movie reviews. I appreciate those a lot. Despite the mixed reviews he received during his career, Jesus went on to become the figurehead of a major religion that selectively incorporates some of his reported teachings. Some maintain that this demonstrates that he truly was the Son of God. If this line of reasoning is correct, of course, it also proves the literal truth of numerous other religions that don't quite jibe with Christianity's claim of exclusive rights to the one true God whom they borrowed from the Jews and forgot to give back. So we'll have to look elsewhere for an explanation of Jesus' eventual triumph over the other miracle slingers who roamed the wild Middle East, impressing the Rubim. So what did he have that the others did not? First, he was in the right place at the right time to become a symbol with some post-mortem staying power. As always, dying young and looking good helped. A few score years later, a marketing team was looking for a way to broaden the appeal of some self-help scrolls that had been slightly successful, despite performing well with the SNs of quorum focus groups. These canny marketers came up with the bright idea of adding his name, along with some sayings and doings ascribed to him in that manner mill known as the oral tradition. I know of two. This new improved package caught the public imagination in a way that caused followers to claim that Jesus was bigger than the Beatles. A few centuries later, Constantine had his vision of a cross in the sky, inspiring the Roman Empire's licensing and distribution deal, and the rest is, quite literally, history. Various holy wars, the Children's Crusade, the Inquisitions, as well as assorted Protestant witch hunts, the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre, and all that good stuff. And all because Jesus was in the right place at the right time, and everything afterwards happened to fall into place. I love it when a plan comes together. In other words, luck. Guy pointing a gun. Caption says, I'm confident that your listeners will enjoy the latest release by the talented Ms. Britney Spears. Kind of dates the book, doesn't it? She is beloved. And this is all footnotes from the last one. I'm not going to read them because then I have to reference them. It's funny, I'm sure. How's chat? How are we doing? How is everyone? I appreciate your loyalty. And I'm sorry if I can't read the chat. Like I said, I'm going to come up with a better way. I think I can put something here off to the side that you can't see. And I will review this later because I do appreciate your feedback and I do appreciate people talking. I appreciate you joining me here with this masturbatory exercise. I'm enjoying it. And I feel like I'm being more productive than just playing a video game. So there's that. All you need is luck. My eye itches. Also, man, I want some peanut M&Ms right now. I have ice cream. Fat enough. Once you've digested that dazzling insight, your next question will doubtless be, but how do I get this luck stuff? My eye really itches. I suppose I shouldn't have touched my toes and then scratched my eye. That's how you get athlete's eye? They're clean mostly. I cleaned up most of the dog shit. But how do I get this luck stuff? Frankly, we're getting tired of your constant questions. Can't you just sit quietly in the backseat for 5 minutes? That contradicts what I said a minute ago, but it's written in the book. I couldn't skip it. Any true gambler will tell you that luck is not the same as a posteriori assessment of how a particular string of events happen to play out in relation to the probability that they might have turned out otherwise. No, luck is a tangible force, and the ability to control it is dependent on willpower, karma, chakras, and, most importantly, the decrees of fate. Even a smarty pants like Dostoevsky, Jesus, I'm tired. Knew this. The massive losses he accumulated with his gambling were not unsurprising outcome of a misguided belief that he could overcome the laws of probability. In fact, they not only prove that luck is a force that can indeed be controlled, but he wasn't able to do it. Fortunately for you, the science of probability manipulation has come a long way since Fyodor Mikhailov's day. Just take an afternoon off from your rockin' to pay a visit to your local botanica or other hoodoo shop and note how everything about the establishment is redolent of success and good fortune. Probably got those little cats that do that. I love those things. You know the food's going to be good when they have that. To get your rightful piece of it, all you have to do is pick up some goofer dust, alleged, black cat bone, alleged, and St. John the Conqueror, and a bag full of specially blessed candles. Then you'll have the edge that only Dame Fortune can provide. Luck be a lady indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Rock Secrets of Richard III. You can dramatically increase your odds by employing the Richard III strategy. If you eliminate all the performers who are more popular than you, then you will of necessity become the most popular rock star in the world. This is especially amusing if you emulate Vincent Price in the 1962 version of the Tower of London, and construct a miniature tableau of the throne room with dolls representing the various stumbling blocks between you and the crown, tossing each aside as you eliminate the real-life counterparts. And then the footnote here says, it's actually a matter of historical uncertainty whether Richard III had his nephews killed, which makes this joke even lamer. Our apologies to our readers, as well as Richard III. Hashtag justice for Richard III. The Good Life. Level 3 touring. What time is it? How late is it getting? I think we're going to make it to midnight. I don't know if we're going to finish it, though. We're about 60%. I think I may have overestimated. But I'm going to keep going just a little bit because the next... Actually, we're right at the end. How about that? Perfect stopping point. The end of this bit. The Good Life. Level 3 touring. Now you're ready to make some big money. Good thing, as you'll need it to pay your tour manager, tour accountant, stagehands, drivers, guitar techs, lighting and sound technicians, gophers, personal physicians, personal assistants, and of course the alimony of your ex-wife, whom you replaced with an expiring model with breast implants. And of course, while you're at it, you might as well spend some money on the oral surgery your new wife needs so badly since she paid for the breast job with money her parents gave her to get her teeth fixed. Of course, if it hadn't been for her parents kicking her out, she might have never wound up working for Boobsy McBreasty, and you never would have met. Ain't love grand? And here's the best part. With your loyal aides decamped taking care of everything, you can finally acquire the drug habit of your dreams. Ah, sweet, sweet black tar. No matter what state you're in, come showtime, your personal assistants will take care of wheeling to the side of the stage. Your personal physician will then shoot you full of enough B-complex vitamins, methamphetamine, liquid cocaine, and Folgers instant coffee crystals to see you through the first 20 minutes of your show, right up to the drum solo. This is where you get to lie down backstage and recharge your batteries as the drum solo gives way to some fancy picking by the guitarist and some nose picking by the bassist. "30 minutes later, another series of injections will provide you with the vim and vigor you need for the final 20 minutes of your awesome concert. Whew. Time to lapse back into your coma. But don't worry, your staff will make sure your inert body winds up on the bus after a riotous backstage party. Let the good times roll." Groupies. Until you get to level 3, you'll encounter better groupie hunting in podunk towns where you can pass yourself off as the Doobie Brothers bassist, the original guitar player for Rage Against the Machine, or PJ Harvey's lyricist. Not only will you get groupies, but people will also give you drugs and money if you're promised to pay them back when your manager wires you the money he owes you. If you have a scientific interest in the real nitty-gritty lowdown on groupies, however, we refer you to the following pages, in which the unabashedly level 1 and musically superb, we might add, were not constrained by modesty. Phantom surfers tell candidly and unexpurgatedly everything we know about groupies, with no experience left out, or even boulderized. Boy, I'm just getting all kinds of new ones tonight. Everything we know about groupies. It's a visual gag. It's blank. Those Phantom surfers are such cards. Keep going, 2 more. Level 3, recording. Now you can finally make albums without compromising your vision 1 iota of a single particle of a solitary wit. No more rushed recordings in some moldy basement for you, my friend. Now you record record take after take until you get the barely rehearsed song right, lovingly laying on track after track, then sit around panning, flangling, having sushi delivered, and experimenting with the mix until all you want at $500 an hour. In short, this is where you can express yourself with no limitations other than your creativity. When it becomes painfully obvious that you have nothing worth expressing. Unfortunately, there is a comforting solution to this quandary that has already been employed by many a rock star. If you've been taking notes, and I hope you have, you probably already have an idea of where your predecessors turned during these dark recording sessions of the soul. Just in case you need a hint, kids, it's drugs. Endgame. And I think that's where we'll stop. Now that you've proven yourself to be not just another sap who has to make an honest living, you might be surprised to find that even rock stardom does not completely alleviate the miseries that stem from being human. For a minute, I thought this said mini-series, and I corrected myself. I knew that wasn't right. Rock stardom even introduces new problems, though actually little more than nuisances. They will likely cause epic anxiety in your new, sadly insulated life. Many wealthy celebrities prefer to keep their mental suffering to themselves, taking comfort in the envy that the unwashed hordes feel towards them. On the other hand, you may feel an irresistible urge to express the angst of your pampered existence and the constant attention that you receive. Good for you! This sort of thing makes excellent lyrical fodder. The public just can't seem to get enough songs about the trials and tribulations of celebrityhood. Another popular method of dealing with your newfound emotional emptiness is to buy some friends to replace the old ones that you've ditched on your way to the top. Why not get another wife while you're at it? And don't forget to up your drug intake. Maybe that will help you convince yourself that you're living life to the fullest. And I think we'll stop there for the night. Friends, I'd like to thank you for joining me with this wankery little experiment that I have put on for my own enjoyment. It has been a pleasure reading this book to you that has sat on my shelf for the last 10 years. But yeah, seriously, the Phantom Surfers are fun. They're very crass, stupid by design, and obviously a very poor consultant of a thesaurus. So, I hope you all enjoyed that tonight. As for what I promised you at the end of the night, cat facts. Let me just substitute another bookmark here so I don't lose my page. Alright, your cat fact. Cat myths and superstitions, fun facts, and friends, these facts are fun. They are very fun, in fact. That's why they're called fun facts, because they're in fact fun. The Japanese often place a figurine known as a maneki neko, beckoning cat or lucky cat, and I'm sure I mispronounced that for all you weebs in the comment boxes, in the windows of shops, restaurants, and other businesses. The feline figurine is thought to bring good fortune. Remember we were talking about that earlier? Cats don't always land on their feet. This is a separate fact. Cats are very agile, so they can usually turn their bodies around during a fall, but they can also still get injured by landing on their back or side. So take good care of your kitties and don't drop them from large heights, especially as they age. That's just rude. They love you, they want to be held. Put them down like you love them. Unless they jump down, then that's their decision. But love your feline children and friends and acquaintances. Be respectful. Do cats get 9 lives? Sadly, no. No one is sure how this myth originated. It could have come from ancient Egypt, where cats were believed to be divine creatures, or China, where cats have long been popular pets, and the number 9 is lucky. Are black cats unlucky? I'm not even reading the next of it. No. In fact, my black cat, Mama Cat, is quite lucky. She actually helped my ex during a diabetic episode. She credits it with saving her life. Mama Cat is a hero. That cat is extremely lucky. Anyway, I'll continue reading the fact. It depends on where you live. In the United States, black cats are bad omens. In Japan, France, and some other countries, a black cat is considered a sign of good luck. And that is why people desire to emulate the French. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this tonight. I certainly did. Like I said, I think it was better than just sitting around playing video games all night long. But I like doing that too. Flabith. Show up next time. At least watch the replay. Again, thank all of you for joining me. Seriously, this was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was something different. You know, I'd like to do this more. I hope more people see it. You know, not trying to make a career out of this, but it's fun. Question now becomes, though, do I keep reading humorous stuff or do I dive into other things? I was looking at my bookshelf and I realized most of what I have is not really fun for a stream. I read a lot of nonfiction. I find fiction to be, I don't know, I just can't find good fiction books. Lastly, the last thing tonight, our album of the week. Exhumed, To the Dead. Like I said, it's a great album. I listened to it. Yeah, go order a copy if you haven't already. Support the artists. Buy their shirts. They're very cool. And see them on tour. They are going to be arriving in your town or general proximity soon. You can look up their tour dates on the internet, or you can ask a friend, or consult a newsletter, or maybe a street team is hanging flyers in your neighborhood. Who knows? But either way, the information is out there. So look it up and buy a ticket. Anyway, good night. I'm going to bed. And thank you, everyone. So, see you later.